Hello, Durud, sorry. Shalom, konnichiwa, whatever language you like. We are live and in living color. For those who don't know me, my name is Guy. I'm an Israeli geopolitical analyst. I'm a cognitive scientist and a philosopher. I am the resident Middle Eastern analyst for Liberty Politics. And in this channel, so I'm streaming on both Liberty Politics and my own channel. We discuss geopolitical developments from an Israeli perspective. We sometimes also discuss philosophy, and a lot of the time, we discuss internal Israeli politics. And I explain internal complex Israeli stuff to the viewership. And today, as per the feedback from yesterday, we are going to do what I hope to do every stream, which is use the resource bank of almost 1,000 values that I've collected over the last 3 years to debunk lies about Israel. Now, I'll use the chat as a barometer for when exactly I should do that. We start with the news and move on to that, or vice versa? So, hello, Lior, or Lior, for those who are able to speak Hebrew properly. And Durud and Shalom to you as well. Yes, RG Rappaport. Hello, my guy. Good morning. Actually, I'm not sure if you're a guy, so guy or gal, or something in between. So good morning, like the stream, yes, or the Steam, like the Steam, but also the stream on both channels. Okay, so Freedom to Galgamel, my brother in opinions, is saying news first. I tend to agree. And yes, Leo is saying please subscribe to Guy's channel. I agree with this sentiment. Real quickly, this is my channel. I am now at 707 subscribers and 69 videos. And I think that's a good reason to subscribe. We're trying to get me to 1,000. But more importantly than that, we're trying to surpass the usurper, Motorpool Grease Monkey. So we're less than 150 subscribers away from doing so. We're trying to get to 1,000 before Monkey specifically. And so everyone, I highly, highly, highly recommend you go subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Grease Monkey, like the Grease Monkey that he is, stole my previous slot where I was streaming with Armin, and now he's doing it because I have a family and I couldn't do it daily. And so he's doing that. But because he stole my slot, we're trying to steal his subscribers. So if you're subscribed to Grease Monkey and you're not subscribed to me, correct this immediately by subscribing to me and then creating another channel and subscribing to me again. Okay, good. So glad we got that out of the way. And also join the group discussion here. I do weekly Q&A sessions or discussions where you can talk to me directly. And also Armin, the owner and ruler, the supreme leader of Liberty Politics, does daily Q&As as well. And you can learn a lot about Iran and economics and other stuff. We also sometimes talk about philosophy, metaphysics in those group discussions. That's how I got my start here. So I highly recommend doing that as well. Okay, so, oh, and thank you, FunSun. So FunSun69, same number of videos that I have is a mod here. And yes, by the way, so FunSun69, and also I have 69 videos at the moment. Coincidence? Yes. But please like the channel being Liberty Politics, and subscribing. Don't forget to tap the notification bell to receive notifications whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. Okay, good. So with all that housekeeping out of the way, so Kevin, I don't think Leo is actually French, unfortunately. So this is Leo. The pup is Leo's dog. The reason for the beret and the Lior at the bottom is because that's how Armin pronounces Leo's name. I don't think Leo is actually French herself, so I don't think she'd be able to understand what you're saying. But Leo, feel free to correct me if you do happen to speak French. Okay, so already, thank you, Thomas Barksdale, for becoming a member of Liberty Politics. Right now, I can receive super chats myself on my channel because I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet. So that's why we're trying to up the subscriber count. But you can send super chats to Liberty Politics. If you have a question or something you really want me to see, that's the highest likelihood that I'll be able to see it, because very quickly the number of comments becomes such that I can't go through all of them. So super chats automatically get highlighted, so I'll definitely see them. Okay, so Bobo always coming in hot with the early super chats. He asks the very the hard-hitting questions. Bibi, Ben-Gvir, and Lieberman cheer for Beitar Yerushalayim. Do you? That's a very good question. So for those who don't know, Beitar Yerushalayim is a soccer or football, actual football, a game where you mostly touch the ball with your foot, as opposed to the games where you touch the ball with your foot once, that the Americans call football. So Beitar Yerushalayim is a football group or team in Israel. Unfortunately, and to my great shame, the answer is that I don't like football. I don't like kadurregel. I don't like soccer. And so I don't really follow any team. I briefly watched parts of the World Cup because it was Argentina versus Spain, and just based on their leaderships, I was heavily favoring Argentina. I hope Spain gets liberated from the Islamic takeover it's undergoing at the moment. But until it does, I'm going to cheer for Argentina, which has already managed to liberate itself from the woes of socialism and so on. And Boba also saying Kula symbol, menorah menorah and political beital. I think you might be talking about this. So actually, Armin did this for me. The menorah and the lion and so on. These are Israeli symbols for the most part. We were just going for like a generic Israeli look, and that's what we got. It's not, and that doesn't have anything to do with Beital. Okay, good. All right. Oh, so Leo does speak French. Okay, so that adds a wrinkle to the profile picture. Soapbox comes in saying 707 subscribers. Armin could easily put your channels to a transfer. Easy to. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Soapbox, feel free to elaborate. Is 707 a oh, so it's now 708. And by the way, thank you, Sapir. Sapir is probably going to come on a bit later in the stream. That's the plan. So, I don't know if 707 is a reference to something, but feel free to explain what you mean by this. Okay, so news. Let's get to the news. And later we'll do a classic debunking of like Israel is indiscriminately killing Gazans and so on. There's a summary of the demographics of all the people who died in the war. And let's just say it doesn't quite look like a genocide. Kind of looks like mostly fighting age males were the ones who died in the war. We'll also use that to debunk the 20,000 children myth that people keep throwing around. They killed 20,000 children. Well, first of all, in 3 years of war, it's not that many, but even if it was, it's not true. This is only if you call every 17-and-a-half-year-old holding a Kalashnikov a child. It's the only way you get to those numbers. Okay, so news. Apparently, this is according to a major source in Likud. Likud is the leading party It's Netanyahu's party. They told Amit Segal, under the condition of confidentiality, that Israel was hours away last week from a massive strike on Iran before Trump stopped it at the last second. That strike that was planned was said to be such that it would destroy the remnants of the Islamic regime. So it's frustrating that it didn't go through, but at least now we have the economic suffocation of the regime. So I still, the regime is collapsing. I still don't see a way that the regime has out of this, even if they wait for the midterms and all that. It's just, I don't see a way out of this for them. I hope that there comes a point where we're able to do the decapitation strike, do like one big strike, not necessarily destroying infrastructure, but destroying other things, to create the momentum for the people to come out again. I know there are rumblings and people are waiting to come out, but I hope we're able to do that. Now, meanwhile, perhaps something is in the works because Brad Cooper was in Israel and participated in a senior IDF operational forum with the Chief of Staff, Eyal Zamir. And the talks covered readiness across multiple fronts and the possibility of returning rapidly to high-intensity fighting. Right now, I don't think that attacks are off the table. At the very least, the timing was not right for it. I think there's a chance, but also Trump is going to come out with a full suffocation, which we're going to talk about soon, of the regime, like full economic suffocation. And as such, the hope, I think, is that striking is not going to be necessary. Let me quickly find. And this time I made sure. So tell me if it doesn't work. But I made sure that now when I'm sharing the screen, you'd actually be able to also hear what's happening on screen. Apparently, we have the technology to do that. So, okay.
And we went from epic fury to economic fury. And at the president's orders, we have raised the level even again. And watch this space for more announcements coming next week, because we are going to apply measures like have never been seen in the history of economic isolation on a country. And we went.
Okay. Scotty B is an excellent, is very good at his job. Unfortunately, charisma is not his strong suit. He was trying to be like puff his chest. It just doesn't work for him. But we still love him. Kevin saying gently massage that like button. Yes. Also comment. Also subscribe. Press the bell on whichever channel you're on, Liberty Politics or my own channel. Okay, someone's saying, Jason, Likud party controlled by London and European globalists, take their statements with a grain of salt. I don't see any plausible way to interpret this that would be true. So feel free to explain what you mean, but this seems like a fundamental misunderstanding of Israeli politics. Likud is very much, if anything, it puts too little concern into what people from abroad are saying, but it's definitely not controlled by external parties. Oh, yeah, okay, Leo. Thanks, Leo. Leo saying, speaking of languages, if you're interested in learning Hebrew, check out Guy's very own platform. Yes, I created an online course for Hebrew because a lot of people who are interested in learning Hebrew are either stuck with Duolingo level platforms that frankly suck, or paying $1,000+ per semester. So I created, I've been teaching Hebrew for almost 10 years and created materials myself. And so I created a pre-recorded course that anyone can take. It doesn't assume any prior knowledge, and it's way more cost effective. Right now, it's on sale for $150, and it takes you through several semesters worth of material. So if anyone is interested in learning Hebrew, that course is available. Thank you, Leo, for bringing that up. It's also in the description along with my channel and the discussion. Bobo, thank you for the super chat. Smartwatch defends Hardy exemption. Do you? No. So the short answer is no. There is an issue of you can't just draft everyone and expect it to work immediately. There has to be more care put into creating goodwill. At the same time, you can't just wait for them to be ready, like, because they're not going. Their politicians are extorting people. Like you anyway, you can't allow them to dictate when and whether they go to the army. It's enough is enough. Hey Shauna, hello Darud. Oh, I see. Okay. So Soulbox is saying, if Armin were to do like Goldie did and just transfer all viewers to you some morning with main chat turned off and you're golden, you'll have your 1K. I mean, at some point, I'm going to go to do some sort of stream with Armin and or Monkey. But right now, I am streaming on Liberty Politics. Like, this stream is also on Liberty Politics, and so I do get the benefit of Liberty Politics audience. And every stream I do, I get like a good chunk of new subscribers. So Armin is already doing a lot, and like, I'm very thankful to him for giving me this platform. Okay, and James Peterson saying Hebleo is great. Enjoying going through the course with my kids. Excellent. I'm really glad you're enjoying it. Okay. Right. So that was our first story. So we were going to do a decapitation strike. Instead, we're doing a decapitation economic choke. Funsen saying you're a fantastic addition, guy. Thank you. Shabbat shalom Rico. Okay. Next, we have the Mecca Agreement. And so as we saw a few days ago, the Mecca Agreement is between Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan. It's a defense agreement, like NATO. If one of those countries is attacked, then the others also consider it an attack, which Israel, like, in and of itself, is absolutely fine for Israel, because Israel has no intentions of attacking any of those countries, despite what the Turks may think. And so it's fine on its own. The problem is that it could lead to a more coherent Islamic as opposed to Muslim alliance, and Turkey softly relaunching the I'm gonna actually okay, this should be better. All right. Softly relaunching the Ottoman Empire, and so far they are talking, like, specifically they identified Egypt as a potential future member. Now Egypt is more of a problem, because if Egypt were to attack Israel, then usually what Israel does, it has great intelligence, and so it knows ahead of time, and it does a preemptive strike. That's what happened in the 6 Days War in 67. This could be a cause for the other countries, if Egypt joins and tries to attack Israel. This could be just cause for the other countries to join the war. So that would be more of a problem, and it could also be something that they do and then prepare an attack to lure Israel to attack to create this regional war. So that could be a bigger issue. So far, though, Egypt is not joining. Okay, so GTA is mentioning that both the Islamic Republic and Turkey have massive troll and digital propaganda army. Unfortunately, that's like Israel's greatest weakness, is that Israel doesn't do that and can't do that because it's a democracy. Like our values make it so that it's much easier to combat this online misinformation campaign. Now, Egypt is terrible because its population is deeply anti-Jewish. This actually, thank you for saying this, Shauna. Also, hello, glad that you're here today. This is precisely the difference. This is how you tell whether a peace agreement is serious. Whether or not the country with whom you sign the peace actually changes its education curriculum accordingly to stop saying Jews are the devil and inciting against Jews. For example, if you have peace with a country, it's probably not a good look for the country to do that kind of thing. And in Egypt, both Egypt and Jordan, Israel's peace agreements prior to the Abraham Accords, neither of them has done this work. And as a result, Egypt is highly, highly, highly anti-Semitic. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this, Sean. I'd like to understand what you mean by Israel and American Jews. Hey, I'm watching from Montreal. Hello, Matthew. Okay, so that's, when you have peace and you're serious about having peace, you have to reform the education system to be slightly less Nazi, right? If you want to have peace with Israel, I think that's a reasonable requirement. And actually think Israel signed a gas sales agreement with Egypt, and I think Israel should be more forthcoming in demanding that its peace partners that rely on it for a lot of stuff. So Jordan relies on Israel for water. Egypt relies on Israel for a bunch of stuff. Israel is on the verge of economic collapse, and I think it's necessary that both countries actually reform their education system, a la United Arab Emirates, for Israel to maintain the its end of the bargain, which is a lot. Israel does a lot for both countries. A country that doesn't have peace with Israel yet, however, has just today, and this is pretty big. This could suggest that there is a normalization in the works, because a new review of 136 Saudi Arabian textbooks found that Riyadh has removed most materials the researchers classified as intolerant towards Jews and Christians, and expanded lessons on coexistence and critical thinking. And anti-Semitic language has reportedly largely disappeared, although Israel is still not recognized normally in the curriculum and continues to be described as an occupying power. Which is fair if you don't have an agreement with them yet. But if they're reforming their education to not be Nazi, that's huge. And the reason they would do that is presumably in preparation for normalization. And this comes after Kushner a couple of days ago, I think it was yesterday, talked about the Abraham Accords and how leaders need to be brave and work to expand them. So there might be something in the works. Okay. Okay, so let's see if there's anything about that. Yeah, so J.M. Peterson saying slightly less Nazi sounds like a low bar, right? I think so too. And yet they fail to meet it. Okay, so Sean is asking who's reforming the education? The Saudi government is reforming its own education. and their textbooks have been looked at by a body that like looks at these things, and they've been found to be like there's a lot of progress that has been made about being more tolerant, teaching critical thinking, and so on. Okay, all right. So then we have the Al-Hashd al-Shabi in Iraq, the PMF, the Popular Mobilization Front, which is an Iraq-backed militia. And Iraq says that remaining U.S.-led coalition mission is still scheduled to end on September 30th. This is also the deadline for the militias to disarm willingly. And PMF, like they're basically saying no. They're resistant. Now the Popular Mobilization Front, it's a bit more complicated because it's formally part of Iraq's security apparatus, and so in a sense it makes it harder, but in a sense it makes it easier, because like if the official government is saying officially that an official body needs to disarm, then at least some parts of that body presumably are going to disarm. But the parts of it that are associated with the IRGC are going to resist, and so there's going to be problems there. There's going to be conflict. At the very least, the PMF is going to have a hard time both defending itself in Iraq and suppressing Iranians in Iran that are trying to overthrow the Nazi Islamic Republic regime. Okay. All right. So, in terms of Houthis, of the Houthis, part of the war, they're actually their pressure is increasing, even though Saudi just signed a very threatening defense pact. The Houthis are betting, and so far correctly, and I think it's going to remain correct, that this is a paper tiger and no one is actually going to enforce it, and they're going to find loopholes around it. However, so Saudi is using alternate export routes to avoid the Houthi threat. But the UN warns, for what it's worth, not a lot, but the UN warns that Yemen is now at its highest risk of returning to major war since the 2022 truce, with renewed Houthi attacks on government forces and shipping. Okay. Then we have, in a similar vein, we have, so Turkey is becoming Israel's major like antagonist in the region. That's what's happening right now with the Shia axis sunsetting. Turkey is now rising as the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood axis against Israel, and they are a force to be reckoned with. They're not as much of a paper tiger as the Islamic Republic, but also Israel doesn't want to eliminate the regime. Like it doesn't. The issue that they have elections that are becoming less and less democratic, but they do have elections. They do have opposition. They're not their rule isn't as absolute as the Islamic Republic's is. And so there could be internal changes to Turkey. Turkey is also more bound by international treaties, so it can't do whatever it wants. So it's a very different kind of threat than what we have seen before. But Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority, the dictatorship holding Palestinians hostage and maintaining their poverty to get more funds, he hosted the PA leader, and Abbas emphasized that Gaza should ultimately return to one Palestinian government and one legitimate authority under the Palestinian Authority, positioning the PA for a post-Hamas role. And Erdogan kept saying Israel should be. We managed to slightly stop the Israeli genocide, to slightly make it a bit less genocidal. It's still genocide. It's still going on right now, but slightly less so. So hooray for us. there's no genocide has just become a word that means anything militarily that Israel does. Like it lost completely any meaning that the word has. The thing about Gargamel is saying the thing about Turkey is the economy. Yeah, they have economic hardships, not nearly as bad as the Islamic Republic, but there is very much a chance for Turkey to go back to being reasonable at some point. Yeah, so the problem is that the Turkish people have grown very anti-Israel, anti-US, and anti-West. So there's a sense in which that's true. I don't want to talk out of turn because I'm not familiar enough. I should start becoming more familiar. I'm not familiar with enough with Turkish politics. Yeah, so I can't comment on that very well. So Casey's saying, I think the president is trying to make it impossible for Saudi not to sign the Abraham Accords. The problem with Saudi signing the Abraham Accords is that the regime is a bit unstable at the moment. The regime in Saudi Arabia, I mean the leadership, and they have a Muslim Brotherhood threat. And even though bin Salman would love to sign it, doing so might create an uprising and a potential collapse of the regime. They don't have as strong of a method to stifle an uprising as the Islamic Republic does. And also they're not going to. They're not as inhumane. And so there's a fine line that has to be walked. So I appreciate I'd love for Saudi to sign, but I appreciate that there are problems. Objective problems for them, even if they want to. Let's see. Okay, so GTA is saying most Turkish people are religious and most of them are also very left. The supposed seculars are mostly very lefty. Turkish politics are riddled with corruption. Okay, I'll take your word for it, but I'm not. Okay, there's people arguing in the chat. I don't understand about what. All right. Anyway, so on to other news. So in terms of Lebanon and Hezbollah, Israel and Washington. So there was you may have seen this on the news. Our Minister of Security, or Defense Minister, said that Israel is not withdrawing from southern Lebanon. And he didn't say Israel will never withdraw from southern Lebanon. It only said that Israel is now not withdrawing from southern Lebanon. And there was a claimed clash about this. I don't believe this for a second. because he very quickly clarified, no, I mean, we will withdraw when Hezbollah is disarmed, but we're not withdrawing now because Hezbollah is not disarmed. And there was a whole hoopla about that. If you want to know, other than unnamed sources, what the positions of the people are, let's look at this. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong. 1 second. That's the wrong page. Okay. There we go.
توقف الاعتداءات الإسرائيلية على لبنان وتجريف البلدات الجنوبية.
رح تتوقف يعني لما يصير الوقت كمان يقولوا له حزب الله اذا هو كمان بيسلم سلاحه كل شيء بيتوقف.
تجريف بيوت مدنية مش عسكرية.
Okay, so quickly translate. This was in Arabic. This is the envoy to Lebanon from the U.S. He was asked, when will the Israeli attacks on Lebanon stop? And he replied, in due time. And tell Hezbollah that if Hezbollah relinquishes their weapons, everything stops. So this is basically where things stand now. All right, and we have. Okay, so I'll go quickly through some of the chats that I've highlighted. Yeah, okay. So Shauna is saying Israeli also has American Jews who fight anti-Semitism in the stupidest possible ways. Yes. American Jews will basically defend Israel by saying we're not white people. The problem with that is that they are also basically justifying anti-white racism. Yes, unfortunately, American Jews have gotten the. So I've mentioned this before, but Jews tend to be disproportionately parts of the elite wherever they go because of their the culture around education and attaining education and so on. And as a result, if the elite establishments are corrupted, a lot of the Jews that go to those establishments also they get brain rot. And most American Jews, as a result, have gotten the elite brain rots, the Western elite brain rot that we have been dealing with over the last 50 years. That is now hard to like it's so this brain rot is now being funded by the countries that are telling you that Israel is doing the brain rotting, or the Jews are doing the brain rotting. So Qatar, China, Russia, and as a result, they don't really know how to defend their own people and explain properly why Israel should exist. So Alpad is saying, but Jews saying they're not white is just a fact. Them debunking lies about themselves and their countries not feeling anti-white racism. No, so I'll explain what Shauna meant. Oh no. How long have I been muted? Sorry. So yeah, okay, I've unmuted myself. But how long have I not been audible? 2 minutes. Okay. So diaspora Jews have this thing where it's part of like the self-hating Jew motif. It's like they would say we're Jewish, but that's okay. It's like they feel a need to apologize for being Jewish, and Israeli Jews are more proud of their Judaism. It's like, what do you mean? But that's okay. Why are you apologizing? So it's the same kind of thing. Oh no, it's okay. We're not white, implying that being white is a problem. That's basically what I meant. Okay, there is a troll, which is fine, but I'm going to ban them because it's just distracting. This is too many comments. Okay. So Monkey is saying, since you start talking Italian with your hands, that's what I always do. So it'd have to be more specific. That would be like the whole stream. Okay. So anyway, Monkey is asking, is IDF giving control of cleared areas to Lebanese army? So there's a pilot going on. So far in 2 areas, Lebanon has wanted to expand it, and Israel said no. We still have to see whether the pilot actually works before we expand it. And so far, it's actually not necessarily working because Hezbollah is coming back in through the back door through civilian entities. Okay. All right. Next, we have so that's Lebanon and Hezbollah. Is there anything else? Oh, and there have also been discussions of an external mechanism to verify the Lebanese army operations against Hezbollah. And so far, several countries have been mentioned: UK, Italy, Switzerland, and one other that allegedly both sides agreed to. But then Lebanon came out and denied this. And so we'll see what happens. It's actually surprising. I mean, it's not the same as UNIFIL, but UNIFIL was a major failure. UNIFIL was an international force after the 2006 war that was meant to ensure that southern Lebanon was like there were no arms and Hezbollah was not using it to threaten Israelis, and then they just ended up like being corrupt and taking money from Hezbollah and so on. Okay, so Monkey is saying, as far as I know, as I knew, the plan wasn't to leave the place. Was IDF clears and gives control of areas to Lebanese army to see if they can hold it. That's the plan I remember, and it's conditional. Yes, that's correct. That's what's going on. That's still what's going on. Yes, Lebanese army would have to prove it can keep Hezbollah out, and so that's why Lebanon asking for an expansion of the pilot is ridiculous because it's been like a minute. You have not proven your capability of living Hezbollah out. Do that, and then we'll leave. Yeah, so UK and France are 2 of the countries. Allegedly, it's about supervising the Lebanese army. But I actually I'm surprised that Israel agreed to this, because these same countries, a lot of them have been part of UNIFIL, and they've proven themselves to be unreliable. Oh, okay. So really quickly, Soapbox has been asking about this for several days. Collage explanation at some point when you get bored, please. This is not mine. I'm not in my own house at the moment. My house is only going to be ready in September. And so I'd love to explain these to you. They don't belong to me. They belong to my in-laws. All right. Now, in other news, so I found this cool map. One second. Let me quickly bring it up. Of South America and where it currently stands in its efforts to become less communist and get its people out of poverty. So this is, I think this was made by Brazilians or by people who are pro da Silva in Brazil. Like they say, this is the ultimate resistance, basically, is what this says. And these are the countries who have very recently, over the last like year, turned pro US and Israel. And basically, the one major country that remains that hopefully in October is going to flip is Brazil. And so Israel and Colombia relationship we talked about last time. Colombia just recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Israel, they just had an earthquake, much like Venezuela. Not much like Venezuela. It was way less horrible. So Israel just sent an envoy there as well to help them with what they're going through. Monkey is asking, is there an ancient scroll of Israeli dad jokes that get best down to you? Actually, so from what I've heard, I've never read it myself, but the Talmud is actually a very funny book. Like there's a lot of irony in the Talmud, and I guess that would be like what that would refer to. And that's one of the reasons like people take it out of context in the sense of like pointing at ridiculous statements when one, it's a book of debates. So fundamentally it's a book of debates. And so someone saying something that is in the Talmud doesn't mean Jews believe that this thing is something that they like. This is not something they adhere to. This is something that one rabbi at some point said as part of a debate. And two, there's a lot of irony in the Talmud that if you just take a statement out of context, it doesn't, you can't appreciate the full width of the irony. Okay, good. So if there was, okay, so now going into domestic politics in Israel. In Judea and Samaria and the West Bank of the Jordan River. Let me quickly show you a map of Israel. There we go. So roughly this is Israel. Sorry, this is Israel. This is the West Bank. This is the Gaza Strip. Okay, these are sovereign Israeli areas, and then Golan Heights. This is the area that Colombia just recognized Israel's sovereignty over. Israel has been controlling this area since '67, and this area is the disputed part, as is this area. And there are the Palestinians. I mean, there are 20% Arabs here, and a lot of them, identify as Palestinians, but most Palestinians are in these areas. And so the West Bank, there was recently there's recently been a slew of, so most the settlements, the Israeli settlements grew over the last 4 years under this government, but along with them, so Mike Huckabee said there are settlers and then there are unsettlers. Most settlers are very peaceful, and they coexist with the Arab population there. And a lot of the Arabs work in those settlements or in relation to those settlements, and that's actually why the Palestinian Arabs are among the richest in the area, because of their economic ties to Israel. But some settlers want to cause trouble and cause Palestinians. And again, I can't stress enough how few those are. Cause Palestinians to go away. Basically, that's like the plan. It's not a good plan. It's not a well thought out plan, but that's basically what they're doing. And unfortunately, because of the elections, like there was a recent such attack where the lawbreakers went after a Palestinian who was also American, and then Mike Huckabee came down hard on those people. And this tells you the extent to which it is a problem that this is not getting resolved. Mike Huckabee is the greatest friend of Israel and also a great friend of the settlements, and he himself said this is not representative of the settlers. But nevertheless, these are Jewish terrorists. And I agree, by the way, wholeheartedly. And there's a problem that because of the upcoming election and from fear of the very fringes of their coalition, right-wing politicians did not come out strongly enough against this. And if there's one reason why this government should go, and as I've mentioned, I'm for a unity government. That's one of them. You can't have this kind of thing go unaddressed. Now, eventually, today, this happened, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. I think yesterday. The Minister of Defense has decided to transfer control over these kinds of things from the military because the West Bank is. Okay, I won't go into it far, but basically, the West Bank has areas A, B, and C. Area A is under both civil and security control by the Palestinian Authority. Area B is under civil Palestinian control, but military Israeli control or security Israeli control. And Area C is under both Israeli control, both civilian and military. That's part of the Oslo Accords. That's like something that's agreed upon in preparation for the creation of an eventual Palestinian state. But it's long irrelevant because, for many reasons, it's just not like neither side is doing things based on the agreement, and they blame each other who started and so on. But it's basically Oslo is basically dead. But that's the status quo right now. And so the areas with security control, as a result, like the army has to police essentially Jewish outlaws as well. And so now that the control of that is going to switch to the Israeli police, which could be good and could be bad. We'll have to see how it shakes out. At the end of the day, I think it is fundamentally a policing issue, and the army should deal with security issues. But there are claims that this might not work well enough. So we'll see. Okay, quickly going through the comments. Okay. So that's what's been going on in the West Bank. And I recently found, so we're going to talk about internal Israeli elections now. Recently found a great website, israelpolicyforum.org/120. I'll also put it in the chat. It was the resource I wanted that didn't exist yet or wasn't like up to date enough. So this is the website. It tells you this is the current, the outgoing Knesset. Again, Knesset is Israeli parliament. There are 120 seats in total. And then it tells you who are the major parties running right now. And so, like, if you want, we won't go through it now. And there are some things here I slightly disagree with. I think Beyachad, like, it's out of date, saying it says, for example, Beyachad is the most significant new political development of the 2026 election cycle. I disagree. I think that Yashar is the most significant development. Also, like in terms of where they should be, this out of date, Yashar should be number 2 after Likud. Okay, so you have the different parties if you're interested in reading about them. And also, they made this handy note of Israel's political parties, from left wing to right wing, and also which coalition they belong to. And so you have, these are the Arab parties, so they don't belong to either coalition, i.e., they're not going to be part of the government unless major reforms happen. There is a Jew trying to work together with Ram to make them a more like palatable party, but they are Islamists. Like Ram is Muslim Brotherhood. So they do talk about Israeli Arab communal interests, but from a Muslim Brotherhood perspective, which is we're peaceful until we're not. So I really hope they're not part of the next government. And then you have the Democrats, which is the only real left-wing party in Israel. So social democracy, liberal Zionism, Yashar, which is like center to, they're trying to be center, arguably center left. That's the largest opposition party at the moment. Then you have Together, Naftali Bennett, Israel Beitenu. Now these two are right-wing parties, and in fact, they're more right-wing than these two parties. The reason they're put here is because they're staunchly part of the anti-Netanyahu opposition. So the question is that website mainly for external consumption? Yes, this is a website, and it's only in English. It's meant to get people to understand what Israeli politics is like. So the reason these two are put here, like these two are way more hawkish, way more right wing than these two. But the reason they're put here is that these two are explicitly part of the anti-Netanyahu bloc. They want to form a government without Netanyahu, and these two are part of the unity bloc. And there's one more party that's part of the unity bloc that's not here, which is the new party called Unity. Eventually, what's probably going to happen is that these two parties and the Unity Party are going to join forces, in becoming one Unity Party that's going to force a unity government. It's going to have roughly 8 seats, would be my guess. 8 to 10, let's say. And then you have, these are anti-Zionists. They're the Ashkenazi ultra-Orthodox party. These are the Sephardi ultra-Orthodox party. The problems with them is that they extort the coalition into allowing ultra-Orthodox to skip the draft. Then you have Likud, which is the center. It's no longer center right. It's like a right-wing party. This would be like center right. Although it depends on what, because on some things it's more hawkish than Likud. But this would be like the default right-wing party. And then you have Smotrich, which is the sectarian party for the religious Zionists. And you have Otzma Yehudit, which is the ultra-nationalist party. And right now, this is your coalition. The ultra-Orthodox, Likud, Smotrich, and Otzma Yehudit. And their website also has polling, and I appreciate that they have like the mainstream polls, which all like agree. Then you have the right-leaning polls, and Zman Israel, I'm not sure exactly what their methodology is, but they seem to be roughly the same as most pollsters. The right-wing polling, like you can see, there's a difference here. So we have National Unity. Right now, it's not getting past the threshold. Zionist Home is just barely getting past the threshold, depending on where. Again, Zionist Home. This is a different face, but it's this party. Okay. And so they're not getting past the threshold alone, or they're barely getting past the threshold. So only UJ Becker saying only near correct polls were in RC14. That's I-24 and C14 are the same polls. And that's why I like having them here. You can see the main difference is that most pollsters give Bennett 8 seats that this pollster gives to Netanyahu. And that's 8 seats crossing, going across the aisle to the coalition. And you see that because of that, they're almost at the point where they can form a coalition, whereas they're way underwater, according to the other pollsters. Now, it's important to opposition. Doesn't mean that the opposition can form a coalition. These have 10 seats that are the Arab parties that are not going to be part of any coalition. And then you have the unaffiliated. Unaffiliated would be presumably like Zionist Home, National Unity, and so on. Oh, this is interesting. Hadash Tal is getting 8 seats here. But that's that's an outlier. I've never seen Hadash Tal get this far. Hadash Tal is the non-Islamic, like the Palestinian National Identity Party, basically. So this is the poll from the 6th of August. So someone's saying last Channel 14 poll gave Likud 33 seats. It's just a few. It's just a few days behind. Is the issue, but it's the same pollster. It's what's it called? It's the Hebleo company, so it's the same pollsters. Okay. Any questions so far? I hope this is understandable. So Sean is asking, wait, you have 2 ultra-Orthodox parties? I thought Sephardic were more normal. They are, but in terms of the draft, they're actually, a lot of their voters are arguably abandoning them because of this. Why the F do Palestinians get a national party in Israel? It's so dumb. So they're not officially an Arab, a nationalist party for Palestinians, but essentially they are. And also Israel is a democracy, and it's a pretty wide democracy. So if we allow Ben-Gvir, and we allow something that fundamentally goes against Israel. Okay, let's see. People are talking about, it's a different topic, but the budget in America. I'll very briefly say that I think Trump is making a lot of good moves in terms of getting more income to offset the debt without making unpopular policy decisions. Maybe he'll make the unpopular policy decisions at the end of the term, but other than making the unpopular policy decisions, he's actually playing it pretty well. And I didn't used to think this. Okay. And so here you see, again, the blocks are inaccurate because you have to subtract 10 from the opposition, always. But essentially, you see that none of the parties have, or no side has a coalition. So they have this interactive coalition builder. And so let's use the average and use the Democrats. Like this would be what the let's see if I didn't miss anything. Yeah, I didn't miss anything. So this would be the opposition coalition. They're not going to have these guys, and they're not going to have they're probably not going to have these guys. They don't get to 60 seats. Okay. Just as an averaging of the polls, which actually I think where it's going to go. I think Hebleo is over. So the right winger The right-wing pollster is overestimating the support for the coalition, but the other channels, I agree, are underestimating them. The right wing. So a guy Ben Gvir is pro-Israel. I'm not sure when I said it wasn't. Okay, so that's the opposition, but then the coalition is these parties, and no party is going to cross the aisle unless forced to. And neither side, as you can see, neither side has the 60 seats. And so what I've predicted is going to happen is that the three parties that we have here are going to be forced to join forces. They have some differences between them, but essentially they are going to have to join forces to make sure that they get past the threshold, and then there's really no coalition to any other side. And so they have to join forces, and so essentially what the coalition is going to be is these parties that are not in the interactive map. Okay, so let's go back here. They're not here, but essentially it's going to be this plus a few extra seats that presumably will come from these parties. So that's roughly what the coalition is going to be. It's going to be these parties, Likud, Israel Beitenu, together, Yashar, and the Unity Party. So essentially, it's going to be like this, and from here, rightward. And I think that's an excellent coalition. It will be able to solve a lot of things. So Tor is asking who I'm voting for. Right now, if you ask me, I'm going to vote for the party that's not here, the Erdan Edelstein party, the party called Unity, called Achdut. But right now, it seems to be well underwater in terms of the threshold of 4 seats. And so eventually, I'm going to vote for the proper party that's formed in this block. And I'm really happy that this is going to form because I saw a very disturbing allegation, we'll say, in Haaretz, that he's essentially preparing to form a minority government, hoping to expand it after it's sworn in. So he wants to form a minority government with outside support by the is going to form a unity government with support from the Arab parties, and then hope to expand it after it's sworn in. And this is not something. This is going to be horrible. Like he wants the one of the parties he wants joining in is Shas, is the ultra orthodox Sephardic party. That's terrible. That's a horrible coalition. That's the worst coalition I can think of. But if the Unity Party forms, then he's not going to be able to do that. He's not going to, even with the outside support, he's not going to have enough. Okay, and with that, Alfonso saying please like. With that, I'm going to bring Sapir on, my good friend Sapir, and we'll discuss a bunch of this stuff. So, hello, Sapir, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It was a bit delayed, I think, but yes.
Yeah, sorry, US stuff.
Yeah. So you're on vacation now, right?
Yeah. Very nice. Very quiet for once.
Yeah. Okay, good. So people are saying they can hear you, specifically Monkey.
Thank you, Monkey.
Okay, so I'll answer a couple quick questions that just came in.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with Shas? Genuine question. So the problem with Shas is that both their economic policy and because they're ultra orthodox, they will oppose a serious draft law. Would be what's your answer? I assume your answer is probably more scathing.
I have a lot of opinions on Shas, because one of my major problems with Shas is that it doesn't even overly represent the majority of the ultra Orthodox community anymore. And it has put a lot of pressure on the Orthodox community, and it's been shifting the Orthodox community by kind of they just been social pressuring them. And they mostly look up for their own interests. A lot of them are anti-Zionist. And that's, and considering the country, it's like the same problem I have with Mansour Abbas, where they're pretty much against the country. They want to more benefit off it than help develop it, and that will be my problem with any party, for that matter, from any political spectrum, with that kind of interest.
I mean, so one thing is, I don't think Shas is quite anti-Zionist like the Ashkenazi ultra-Orthodox are. Is this appear from the school group? Yes, it is. But I mean, I agree with everything else you said. Rotem put it well. Socialist and sectarian. That's basically, and also like the issue is also it's not just draft; it's also education. So the ultra-Orthodox are becoming a bigger force in Israeli society, and they're undereducated to actually help with the economy. Okay. Also, Rotem is saying Lapid was PM. He could have drafted them instead of give Hezbollah territory. So there's a big difference between what people would be willing to agree with or to before October 7th and after October 7th. This has become a much bigger issue after many of us, myself included, did literally years of reserve duty because of the lack of manpower. While there are people, like 20% of Israeli society, that could participate, or at least most of them could, but don't. So the issue has become much bigger.
We need to consider that up until now, every war in Israel didn't take more than 1 month, 2 months tops.
Yeah.
Most wars have been a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Now this is the longest war we've ever had. It's longer than our independence war. That we are facing systematic problems that we never had to deal with before. And obviously October 7th as an event by itself has been a big shifter in the opinions of not just the people, but the politicians themselves as well.
Yep. I completely agree with that. Quickly, I want to address something that UJ Becker is saying. I expect the election will give us nearly the same coalition as now, even strengthened. The whole hype around the opposition winning against the right is as always, and they are always wrong. So I don't think the opposition is going to win. But I'll read the next comment, and then 600,000 first-time voters that will join are 75% right in pro-coalition. The coalition will just get stronger. So this is essentially the Filber argument. This is what Filber is saying. The problem with Filber's analysis, and I haven't seen him address this at all, is that the current coalition doesn't have 64. The current coalition actually, or 68 or however much, it actually has 60, because roughly 4 seats that were meant to go to Meretz were eliminated by the lack of labor joining forces with Meretz. If that hadn't happened, then you would not have had, under the same voting patterns, you would not have had this coalition either. And considering the forces that are coming up and some shift that has occurred, I legitimately don't see either side having a coalition. But no one, I'm not saying. So some people are saying, "Oh, Eisenkot is going to have 61 Zionist hands." I don't think he is. I don't think he is. And neither does Sapir, as you just heard. What's going to happen is, what my prediction is, that you're going to have a solid unity party that's going to force a unity government. So the left wing is not going to enlist to draft the ultra orthodox either. I agree, but a unity government that has Likud and Yashar and Bennett and Lieberman and this right wing party, or sorry, this unity party, is. It's going to be one of its like calling cards. That's going to be one of the things that puts these people together.
I have a prediction, but it differ. It can go to 2 different points depending on what happens, right? So either we gonna have any, like you said, like a full coalition made out of different parties, like a unity coalition, unless unless somehow it is declared that Bibi is the head of it, and I think that will make things more complicated, because even a lot of people from the right don't want Bibi as governor at this point, which is very interesting to see. Like a lot of opinions recently from the right wing that have been supporters of Bibi for a long time, and they do not support him anymore. And I see a rise of support for Eisenkot. I think what we see today with like 32 mandates for Eisenkot and 33, I think, for Bibi. I think that those are going to be about the numbers we're going to see for those parties.
33 or 23?
30. I think they're gonna get. I think they're gonna get. I think they're both gonna get around 30.
Interesting. That's well above the current consensus that I've seen.
But keep in mind, we need to look at the voters that are coming in. We need to look at the thing that we need to look at. So in the last election, a lot of people didn't vote. A lot of people didn't vote, and because they were so tired after 5 elections, they were out of this. I know that I personally didn't vote because I just couldn't. It was like after my first time voting was the first election back then, and I was like, I can't, I don't know what to vote anymore. And I know that a lot of other people have been that way too. So I think we're gonna see a big amount, a huge amount of people going to vote this year, either from ideological reasons or from a feeling of a big need for change, or something big is gonna happen in those elections. And I think we're gonna see a lot more mandates than we saw in previous elections to every party. What do you think about that?
I can see it happening. I don't think either of them is going to get over. So I think they might get a bump. I don't see them getting over 25 each. But that's just an assessment. I understand your rationale. And it could be like on election day, it could have a galvanizing effect, especially if you do have a unity party. Then a lot of people will say, "Oh, you have to vote for
the unity
if
party.
You want to ensure that I'll be the prime minister, then I have to be larger than the other guy, because allegedly whoever is largest is going to be the one that is the prime minister." And so I can see that galvanizing effect. So maybe I'm okay. I'll concede maybe like up to 27. I just think 30 is a lot to go to.
I know that it's a lot, but it's exactly because of October 7th, and because I think it was like only around 50% of the voters in the last election that voted, didn't they? Between 50 to 60%,
I
if I
don't
remember
remember.
correctly.
I honestly don't
I need
remember.
to
Yeah,
check that
maybe I
out.
don't remember the numbers.
I think we're just gonna see so many people going to vote that thinks that the mandates themselves are gonna be higher. Maybe not like 30, but very close to it, the very least.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can see that. Okay, actually, we just had breaking news.
Oh.
So Lebanese sources are claiming that Israel is about to try to take over the Ali Taher Reches. You remember how to say Reches?
Reches?
Like hill?
Hillside, maybe.
Ridge.
Ridge.
Yes, because
Okay.
Reches is not just one hill. It's a
Yeah.
combination of several. So anyway,
English moment.
this is a Hezbollah stronghold. If this is true, it's major. But they have been bombing there. But this is a huge, big if true, as they say. Oh, by the way, also, Netanyahu said in a podcast in Hebrew that he essentially quoted Douglas Murray and said that the first Islamic nation with nuclear capability is going to be the UK. I mean, putting aside Pakistan's own, but it's a rhetorical thing. It's going to be the UK. And then Piers Morgan quote tweeted that and called him idiot, and that blew up. And everyone in the comments are saying to Piers, "No, he's right," because Piers Morgan has not been taking the Islamic takeover of the UK seriously enough. And a lot of people, I've seen people say that Netanyahu is destroying our foreign relations. I actually think this is helping us with the European right. And you have to see where the wind is blowing. Now, is it flippant? Yes. Should a prime minister probably not say that? Yes. But at the same time, I think this particular time it didn't.
I don't think it caused that much of an outrage. In many UK channels and UK spaces that I'm in, I've seen a large agreement with it. It's like, oh my God. And then you had some Islamists that say, yeah, because like Islamists that were writing, that's Bibi's fault. Like, but that's like,
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah. But
Let's put it this way.
UK, yeah.
I don't think there's a single person who was pro-Israel who heard that and was like, "Oh wait, never mind."
Yeah. Most of them would say base.
Yeah.
What I'm more curious about is what's been happening the past few days between Turkey and Saudi Arabia. Have you seen the amount of shipments? There have been a lot of.
No, I've not seen the shipments.
So there have been a lot of shipments going from Turkey to Saudi Arabia, with. Wait, let me see the context of it, because I have it here. Yeah, intensive operations of military transport aircraft from Turkey to Saudi Arabia, weaponry, heavy weaponry, light weaponry. Something big is gonna happen. I don't know when.
Presumably with Yemen, right?
Mm-hmm. It's part of the agreement that Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and one more country was there.
Pakistan. The Mecca agreement. We talked about it earlier in the stream.
Yeah. So we know there are reports that it's been very intensive for the past 3 days, and it hasn't stopped ever since. They just keep shipping in stuff. So I'm curious to see how that develops.
Interesting. Okay.
Another thing that I'm curious about, which is not really related to that. I just remembered because of the comment of like Spain is falling. Even though the government has claimed they pretty much took all the refugees, all the Moroccans that got it in, they claim that they took almost all of them out. There have still been videos in the past few days that showing with dates that it's been happening today, yesterday, like it's been a few weeks now, and there are still tons of them in the street.
Yeah.
And they're still breaking in, and there are rapes. There was a horrible case where one of them uh, managed to sneak in the middle of the night to a woman's bed and
Oh
just
no.
laid next to her.
Y-
She luckily was awake enough. She screamed for help, and thankfully her husband came in and managed to get him away. But it's been ongoing.
I think Sanchez is getting everything exactly what he deserves. This is, this like nice sounding policy has consequences, and he's dealing with the consequences. And I think when's the election? Spain election. Oh, it's in less than a year. It's not as soon as I would have liked. It's in May, but I hope Vox goes so high that Spain is would become another Latin American country that's shifting sides. It's just not in America.
The problem with elections in Spain is that you don't vote for a person. And 80%, if I remember correctly from Jose and Monkey that talked about it, that around 80% of people that didn't even vote for Sanchez.
Yeah.
And so I am curious to see what will happen, because at that point, even if I don't know, somehow he gets elected, because I'm not really sure how the Spain electoral works, but I know it's a bit more complicated. Even if
So
he somehow get stays in power, I think the people at that point, I think they will bring back the guillotine. I'm not gonna lie.
maybe because he's essentially trying to import voters. Now, from what I've seen, currently the polls basically say that the next coalition is going to be a right wing coalition with the center right party that is going to be forced into joining forces with Vox. Just in terms of, but that's just the polling I've seen. I don't know.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't know what's
your monkey
gonna happen.
said 80% of population didn't vote him over,
Vote for him.
vote for him, and over 60% of the voters didn't vote for him.
Yeah. By the way, before I forget, there's something I decided based on feedback that every stream I'm going to do a debunk on Gaza, on the genocide. So, and I
Oh,
haven't done it yet today. So really quickly, let's go to the graph and end Sapio back. Okay, are you familiar with this graph, Sapio?
oh yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, most Israelis have. And now a lot of non-Israelis are going to. And please spread the word. Here, I'm going to put the link to the graph in the comments. This is up to date as of May 7th. So like a little less than a year since the war ended. The source is Gaza Ministry of Health and the U.S. Census Bureau. And this is based on Hamas's own reported deaths. Okay. What you see here is the number of deaths per gender and age group. So males are blue, females are red. And this is the total population, their comparative, like the total population in that age group. And first of all, as you can see, the Gazan society is very young because they have like 8 children per family or something along those lines. And curiously, consistently, the groups that are dying beyond their share of the population are males, aged
Military
15.
age man.
Yep, to 45. In other words, I mean even more so, but yeah, basically the most highly represented group among deaths relative to its population size by far is military aged men. And military aged men, you see that this is 15 to 19 is where it starts, because Hamas has fighters as young as 15. So Hamas starts enlisting people like as active combatants that are no different than combatants over the age of 18, as young as 15, and it maybe even a bit lower.
They enlist them. They enlist them officially to the military as a whole, to the military. At the age of 10, they start training. At the age of 12, they start general operations. And at the age of 14, they start combatant operations.
Right. So when people say, "Oh, Israel killed 20,000 children," and like they say children, you imagine like a 5-year-old. A child as anyone under either 18 or 19. I'm not sure, like, but either way, a 17-and-a-half-year-old with a Kalashnikov is not a child. But that's how the data talks about it. And so you have 20,000 children, and as you can see, the vast majority of them, of those children, are males aged 15 and up. Now, is it horrible that actual children are dying? Yes, of course, absolutely. But that's true of any war. And this war, relative to the conditions, has been by far, the most careful war that has been fought in terms of military civilian to combatant ratio. So someone is asking for a tiny URL for this, and that's fair.
I wanna amuse the troll that we have in the chat, VDoc. So
Sure.
babies are targets according to your Zionist overlord. That is very funny of you to say that, considering the graph we just saw.
Yeah.
Cause it seems like they don't really die that much. Not that they should die at all, but unfortunately, this is the consequences of war. I challenge you to find one urban war where there are not children or babies that died at all. And especially, I want you to find an urban war that has ratios of combatant civilians. By the way, at the highest estimates of people that hate us, the estimate is 1 combatant per 3 civilians. So you know what? I want you to find any urban war that is somehow lower than that.
Yeah. But I think, Sapir, get a soul, you devils. I think you're giving this person way too much credit. This is not this is like a 10-year-old that's in the middle of Islamic school that came to the video. Like, we should not, this is not a person that's actually going to do anything. We can use them.
I know. I use them for content.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, that is a challenge, right? I don't need to explain myself. Oh, I threw back the ball at him. What he does with it, that's will be his downfall, not mine.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So again, I'll do one of these a day. As you guys know, if you watched my last stream, there is this resource that I have that is going to turn into a website. It's already in the works, and it's going to be Liberty Politics branded. So I have at least one person from Liberty Politics that's on the case, and there's going to be way more. And there are, as of now, almost 500 that are already. Oh, sorry, no, this is filtered. Wait, hold on. What filter did I use here? I think it was raw stats. Okay, clear. No. Damn it. So right now, this is updated. Actually, there we go. So I just used AI to put the rest there. No, it's okay. It's not done yet. Or it's not up to date yet. But there's going to be at least double. It's going to be around 1,000 points here. And each of them is going to be a useful thing for fighting this misinformation about Israel. For example, let's just something, a random thing I clicked. Here we have a video from CBN News from 12 years ago. Okay, so this is not a new point that's being made now to help Israel. This is old.
Well, the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is holding for a second day. But up until now, Hamas has not only been using mosques, but even a church compound to attack Israeli citizens. George Thomas shows us in this exclusive report from Gaza.
Archbishop Alexios is Gaza's most prominent Christian leader. His decision to open his church to 2,000 Muslims escaping the war surprised many Gazans.
Christ tells us we must love each other, our neighbors and our enemies. No other religion says that except the Christian faith.
Alexios and the estimated 1,500 Christians who live in the Gaza Strip walk a fine line between trying to stay alive and the Bible's command to share God's love. Since Hamas's takeover of Gaza in 2007, human rights groups have accused Hamas of imposing strict Taliban-style Islamic laws.
Islam is the rule of this place, and whatever Hamas says, we must obey or face consequences.
Alexios is now concerned about what comes next after the guns fall silent and the rockets stop flying.
There's a lot of anger on the street. We need forgiveness and love to flow.
He took CBN News to the roof terrace outside his office. He showed us how militants reportedly used the church compound to launch rockets into Israel. He refused to discuss details on camera for security reasons, but days after the war started, Israeli missiles targeted an area close to the church's sanctuary. This is what's left of one of two minarets that used to stand tall here along the Gaza Strip, not too far from the Mediterranean. It was a major mosque. It was apparently hit by 7 Israeli missiles. The Israeli government makes the argument that places like mosques, hospitals, and densely populated areas are routinely used by Hamas to fire off their rockets. Just around the corner from the church, Mohammed sits in complete shock.
I picked up the phone and the Israeli army said, I have 5 minutes to get out of my house. They were going to destroy it.
This is what's left of Mohammed's 3-story apartment complex. He, his 5 brothers, and their families lived in the building.
They switched topic now. So this, I assume the rest of this is going to be. First of all, you see that we tell people to leave the house before we bomb the house. We bomb the house because there is weaponry hidden there. Okay, but the point was the Gaza bishop at the beginning admitting that Hamas uses churches to fire rockets. So there's a lot more there. It's going to be a website. It's going to be available, and you're also going to be able to suggest suggest
I wonder,
materials.
Did you put the video of Hamas making missiles out of the UN water pipes?
And maybe there's a lot here, but if you have it, send it to me, and then I'll add it
send it
as well. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of videos we can use. So last time I showed a quick cut video of Palestinians during the last war saying that we prefer Israel because Israel actually feeds us and Hamas steals our food, and a bunch of stuff like that. And also Fathi Hamad, which is the internal minister, or was the internal minister in their government, essentially saying we are the Gazans sacrifice themselves. We put women and children on the line of fire. This is our strategy against the Zionists' weapons, and we love death as much as they love life. And so basically, and again, from like 18 years ago. So like, this is not a new strategy. None of this is a new claim, and these are things that they're actually doing and have been doing. And I recommend to all Christians, look up the Christian population since 2006. The Christian population in Gaza, what happened to it, and in Israel in the same time period. Which one has increased and which one has decreased? Yeah. Okay. So we have a few.
I
comments.
also have.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Whispered in Gaza?
What?
Have you heard of the project Whispered in Gaza?
No.
You need to. So this.
Yeah,
I
send it
put
to me
it in
on
the.
WhatsApp.
Oh. Has failed to post. Okay, I'll send it to you in WhatsApp. But basically, it was made way before October 7th. And it's basically brave Gazans that talked about, from Gaza, about how they actually live under Hamas and what they wanted to do. And what I do have about Israel.
Oh, and okay.
But,
so that I didn't know.
Yeah, so it's a very it's a full project. They animated and changed their voices, so they won't be harmed. But this is the project page.
Yeah. Okay. So Ronnie's saying I've seen that. I have that video pinned on my Facebook. Unfiltered Gazans speak out against Hamas. Yeah, the one I was talking about. I mean.
Because the important thing for me to show is those voices even before October 7th.
Yeah. Again, none of this is new. These claims that Israel is making is not hasbara or whatever. People say hasbara just means explanation. It's like, oh, it's this shadowy thing where Israel is trying to control the narrative by literally explaining the way things are. People use the word hasbara, and then they think that if they used it, then they don't have to actually reply to your claim. But yeah, this is not new. This has been going on for 20 years. And I do have some journalists there, for example, actual journalists who managed to escape Gaza and say that, listen, all the journalists you're seeing in Gaza, they're Hamas puppets, because if they weren't Hamas, if they didn't do what Hamas tells them to do, then they wouldn't be able to report at all, / wouldn't be alive. I managed to escape, and I'm going to tell you the actual truth. So there's like a bunch of this. Okay, I have some comments to go through. So Motorpool Grease Monkey, my subscriber number nemesis, is saying, how many in the right-wing coalition are socialist parties or leftists? A surprising amount. In Israel, the division is not based on economics. And so Ben Gvir, for example, is a socialist. Shas are very socialists. The ultra-Orthodox, the Ashkenazi ultra-Orthodox, I mean, they don't have a political platform, but they live off of welfare. And Likud has some capitalists and some socialists.
The thing is that being a socialist would imply that you want welfare for all, and this is not the case. This is, they think they specifically deserve the welfare because they think they contribute to the country so much by studying Torah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they think. It's just that. So that's the generous version. The issue is that a lot of them don't even study Torah seriously.
Mm-hmm. By the way, did I get like banned in your chat or something because of the link I sent? Because now I can't send any messages in your chat.
Oh, really? I mean, I didn't do that. Funson?
Oh no, I mean
Funson?
like maybe there was like an automatic timeout or
Oh,
something.
okay. Okay, so but Funson don't ban Sapil. Okay. Yeah, so Likud has socialists. I was not aware. Yes. People like Sasson Guetta, and either socialists or people who are bought and paid for by certain unions in Israel. So that would, for example, Bitan would be one of those. Dichter, the minister of agriculture, also paid by
It's important to mention
lobby.
what Bess is saying. Socialist is not the same. In general, the concept of right and left in Israel is not the same as in America, and I think we need to make it very clear that there are a lot of differences in between those systems. The Likud is not considered to be, I mean, depending who you ask, but the Likud supposedly is not even a right wing or a left wing party. It's supposed to be a middle party. It's basically the Libertarian Party, or used to be. Now it seems to be shifting to be more conservative.
Yeah. I highlighted the comment you were replying to, or bringing up. Tuning in for the first time. Hello from Central California. Okay. So, all right, I'm gonna ban this guy.
There's like, what do you think about women soldiers in the combat units in the IDF? I think as long as they manage to actually qualify, like if they actually qualified, then they could be in the combat units.
I assume you mean qualified under the same conditions.
Under the same, yeah.
So Israel doesn't have time for social justice. Like, it's kind of hard to use like quotas for populations when you're fighting for your life. You sort of have to realize what actually matters. Okay, a few more comments to get through, and then I think we'll wrap it up for today. And thank you, Sapir, for coming. So, Rotem, I guess Feiglin voters think, well, if you get PM with 6 seats, why not with 0? So a joke I recently heard is like, if Bennett doesn't pass the threshold, he'll say, okay, so then I'll do a rotation. But this is actually something worth talking about, because Feiglin is also a right-wing figure, libertarian, and right now he has like 2% support, and if they vote for him, then that's 2% of the votes that would have gone to the right wing that are not going to go to the right wing. And people are hoping that he's going to unite with one of the other right-wing parties. My hope would be Smotrich, because I want Ben Gvir to get as small as possible. But right now, that's something to keep an eye on.
I'll do self-promotion real quick.
I'm gonna. That's one of the comments I'm gonna get to. So do the self-promotion after I get to the comment.
No problem.
Okay, I'll still do it now. So Raeli is asking, does Sapir have a channel? Will do you?
Well, I do, and I actually just posted a video, I think a day or two ago, which is very interesting. I do very clickbait titles. You have to bear with it. But the title is "Why I Am Not a Zionist." But I'll try to post my channel again.
Yeah,
we'll
so
see.
Post the channel, then I'll highlight it as well.
Yeah, if it lets me.
Okay, so meanwhile, while you look for it, I'm going to go through the rest of the comments. So UJ Becker is saying the ultra-Orthodox in Israel have quite high dropout rates. So don't look at just at birth rates. When looking at 20-year-old, they also strengthen the traditional and secular population. I agree with that. The drop-off rate is not enough to justify. And by the way, I don't want them to drop out. I want them to be productive members of society, wherein their interpretation of Judaism, how strictly they want to take it, and how much they want to go beyond Shulchan Aruch and so on. That's their prerogative. That doesn't make them eligible to getting all the taxpayer money. So I don't care if they remain ultra-Orthodox. I'm fine with them remaining ultra-Orthodox as long as they are productive members of society. And considering that in most other places in the world, the ultra-Orthodox are productive members of society, they do have, they have to take care of themselves. There is no fundamental thing that would make this an issue. So I want them to be productive members of society. I actually don't want them to get out of the ultra-Orthodox community. I just want the ultra-Orthodox community to be self-sufficient. That's it.
We have a sector now called the Libertarian Orthodox, and a lot of them live the way they want to live, but they contribute to society and they work, and they need to. And a lot of them go to the military. By the way, there are special routes in the IDF for Orthodox people that also want to study Torah while in the service. So they do exist, but there is a wider thing that's happening in the Orthodox community, and maybe we can talk about it another time, because I don't think we have the time for it, right?
Yeah, we don't have the time for it.
Yeah.
So Sean is saying they use welfare in America as well. Yeah. So there's a New Jersey town that Nick, I don't remember his name. There was a guy who went there. Actually, I thought that's another thing with Jews in America. Like, not every criticism towards a Jewish community, especially a criticism that also happens in Israel, is anti-Semitism. And there's a lot of people who are quick to jump the gun. Now, I can sympathize in the sense that there is also a lot of anti-Semitism. But if you have a population that's abusing welfare, that should be called out. And there are people like that in the US, but there are a lot of people who are not like that. And often, like, very rich ultra-Orthodox people subsidize other ultra-Orthodox people. But yes, there are ultra-Orthodox communities that do this in other places as well, unfortunately. And I'm for it ending there just as much as here.
Yeah, I do, but I do want to emphasize that, like, there are a lot of Orthodox communities that work, especially in New York. They have a lot of businesses, but there's always the few communities that became segregated. And by the way, I was very upset at what happened to the video and the channel on this Patreon when I also forgot his name, when he did do the expose on that community. I think that's just that was stupid.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that's contributing to anti-Semitism, when you can't call things out. Okay, so Fart Fig Newton is mentioning the Israeli genocide banned in this chat. No, you can mention a lot of fantastical things. You can mention unicorns. That's not going to get you banned. Israeli genocide is one of them. But I highly recommend you go back and watch my previous stream, and a bit earlier this stream, where I debunked some of the claims that only stupid people make when they claim it's a genocide. Now, I know you're not serious. You're a troll. I see your comments. You can talk about whatever you like as long as you don't spam the chat. And you can make any false claim you want. That doesn't mean we should give you the time of day. The problem is when you spam the chat, I can't see actual productive comments to interact with. Okay. So Subbox asking, Guy, are you invested in Israeli stock market? If so, how are you doing? I'm not invested in investing in the Israeli stock market, like through the Israeli stock market, but I'm only investing in Elon-led companies. So Tesla and SpaceX are the only stocks I own. I can talk for hours on why. Instead, I recommend just go to a channel called Solving the Money Problem. Explains it much better, and that's actually what he does. So that's and also Farzad. Farzad is also an Iranian. He did an excellent video about how a free Iran would climb really quickly back into prominence and into being a leader economically. So, and both of them talk a lot about the Elon-led companies. And so I recommend both of those. So one is Farzad. Actually, let me quickly do a.
There's a lot of
So-
reasons for me to pretty much hate Elon, but I can't deny the good things that he has done.
So okay, so real quickly, so we mentioned Sapir's channel. This is my channel. Nice. Thank you for the 8 who subscribed, but let's also get it higher. So this is me. Again, the link is in the
Just so you
description.
win Monkey.
Yes, just so that Monkey. Let's see if Monkey got any new subscribers since I last checked. Oh, you got 1 new subscriber, Monkey. Well, I got more. I got like 8. So So let's continue this pace. 8 to mine for every 1 that Monkey gets, and then we'll be able to get to 1,000 before him. Okay, but also I will quickly go. So Farzad. Yeah, so Farzad did an excellent video on Iran. I'll post it in the comments. But also just like the channel in general. It's an excellent channel. And then Free Iran. Why is this okay? He is an Iranian expat. Don't listen to everybody's lies about Iran. Excellent video. Very in depth.
I would definitely watch that.
Yeah. So it's in the chat now. And also you can just look for it. And then the other is solving the money problem. It has been a very good resource for me to understand the thesis behind investing in Tesla. So yes, so everyone subscribe to Monkey and then make 8 channels and subscribe to mine after you subscribe to Monkey. Speaking of Monkey, what does mandates mean, Guy? Mandates is seats in the parliament. Israeli parliament, we call them mandatim. We call them mandates, but it's essentially just seats. Like a mandate is 1 out of the 120 seats in the Israeli parliament.
And
So,
to get it, you need a party needs to have, I think it's per 12,000 votes, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It depends. It depends. So each it's a share of the votes. So it's way more than 12,000. Oh, per seat.
Per seat.
No, I think it's more, but it's I think it's an estimate based on the share of the votes. So it's just 120th of the total votes, I think. So how do I contact you to help with the website and also as a super chat? Thank you for the super chat, Bestak, or Best Aqua. How
was
can
it
I contact?
divided by 12,000? I think it might be divided.
Oh,
by
could
12.
be. It could be. Yeah, it could be divided by 12,000. So how do I contact Gay to help? First of all, how dare you? That's not my name. My name is Guy with a U.
I'll call you Gay.
You wouldn't be the first one. But you can send a message to the channel. I also have my channel has like an email you can send stuff to. So go to my channel and then send it that way. And if I don't reply, then come back next stream and tell me you sent it and didn't reply. I should get it. I got other people. But yeah, that's how to contact me to help with the website for the debunking and all the resources. That's when this comment came through. RG Rappaport, please state time and days of stream, guys. So unfortunately, right now it's not set in stone. My schedule is in flux. I try to do like 3 to 4 times a week. I always do Tuesday. My discussion group is on Tuesdays, and then it really depends. But it's always this time. Like it's always 4 to 6 p.m. Israel time, which in Eastern time is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then you can make the conversions from Eastern wherever you are.
Yeah.
But thank you for the super chat, RJ Rappaport. And Monkey is actually now going live. Like right now, he's going live with Armin. saying I made 108 videos. He will catch up soon. Yours are shorter and have a better format. One topic will explain. Mine are all 2 to 3 hours. After Hebrew class, make short video class for me. Okay. So that was Monkey bragging that he has more videos than me. That's all I saw. Thank you, Monkey. And he's now, like right now, he's going live with Armin on both his channel and on Liberty Politics. Like he's probably already streaming. So go to their stream. Oh no, they haven't started yet. But go to their
And
stream.
Guy, if that helps you, whether you lose or win the race you have between you and Monkey, it's okay because I will lose anyways. Because I don't even have 50 subs.
Yeah, so everyone also go to subscribe to Sapil. But I want to beat Monkey. Okay, Ronnie's saying Guy and Ali are great. Good sections. They get a lot of views too. Thank you. And as for the priest in Gaza, poor guy's probably gone by now. Yes. Again, look at the Christian population in Gaza over the years.
Oh, I love it. Everyone calling you gay now. This is beautiful.
Oh yes.
This is a dream.
Yay.
Guys, you
Thank
would
you,
make me
Best
so
Agua.
happy.
Thank you, Best Agua. Not that there's anything wrong with that, obviously. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah,
it's just
is
not
there
my
a problem
name.
with being gay? Is there a problem?
No, not at
Yeah.
all. It's just
Okay,
I
cool.
happen to not be, and it's just I'm really offended by
You
misspelled
don't-
name, misspellings of my name.
Listen,
If you spelled it
I
like
know
GUI,
it's hard
like
to get out of
GUI.
the closet, but it's like it's okay. It's a supportive community. We understand. We're gonna wait for you
Yeah.
to come out whenever you.
Okay. So wait, there's another troll. We're taking over the UK.
We know.
Yeah, we're
You're
not saying.
trying.
Yeah, I mean, good luck with that. And they both said, Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah. Sure. There's also I encourage you to look at the Islamic prophecy that's saying that Islam is going to start in a strange land, meaning in Saudi Arabia, and expand, and then it's going to collapse and back into the strange land. This is also from the Hadith. So good luck. It's not going to last according to your own sources, your own prophet. And okay. All right. I think that's it for today. So do that again, Guy. That was hilarious. So I think many of you already know, like I do speak Arabic. Mashallah. Here's another one. But yeah, so what was it going to say with that? Yeah, so I do speak Arabic. Like sometimes I might be able to do like a live translation of some Arabic stuff. Also, if people are interested, discussing the language and its relation to Hebrew, there's a lot of similarities there. Yeah, I mean, presumably that's not going to be a very okay. So I'm gonna ignore that troll. I'm actually not sure if they're actually an Islamist or
They're not. They're
Yeah,
definitely
okay.
not.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, we're already late. Yeah, Latham is saying
Concurring.
it's not nice to occupy Armin's channel like this. Yeah, so we're already late. So thank everyone for coming. I'll probably have another stream on Sunday, but it's hard for me to say for sure ahead of time. So I'm sorry, this is not there. Like I don't have a set schedule yet. I'm gonna get one eventually in like a month probably. But yeah, go watch Armin's stream with Monkey, and see you guys next time. And thank you, Sapir, for coming.
No problem.
All right, bye.